can get crazy in a lot of crazy ways. People try and keep you down. Think you'll go away, won't come back around. You got a backbone, what do you do? Everybody back home is watching you. Don't let them down, but you're thinking it. Get off the ground now, don't you quit. You gotta keep on going strong. If you do, it won't be long before you find yourself on top. So don't you never ever stop. Take time to realize. Doesn't matter the mountain size. You gotta persevere. It's not impossible from here. You just gotta take a step and you got nothing left. You step again and again. You gotta keep on going strong. If you do, it won't be long. You're gonna find yourself on top. So don't you ever, never stop. I'm gonna teach you a lesson, son. I'll show you how that stepping's done. Everybody got a plan until you punch square in that mouth. The only thing that matters now is what the hell you gonna do about it. Get up again, 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 get up again. You gotta keep on growing strong. If you do, it won't be long. You're gonna find yourself on top, so don't you never, ever, ever stop. You gotta keep on going strong. You're gonna prove the whole world wrong. You're gonna find your place back at the top, and don't you never, ever, ever stop. You gotta keep on going strong. If you don't stay alone, you just pick yourself right up from there. You gotta find that right again and again and again and again and again and again. And don't you never, ever, never, ever stop. And don't you never, ever, never, ever stop.
All right, here we are, Matt Connarton Unleashed, and we are not live, of course, as live programming has been suspended at the station, so this is pre-recorded, but I'm sitting here with a gentleman who goes by the name Krieg. Well, not literally sitting here. He's joining us by phone, so we're at a safe distance of many miles as
many miles
as we socially distance. But Krieg, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you very much for having me.
And looking forward to learning about your project, the Retrograde. Where are you from? I'm curious now exactly how many miles apart we truly are.
Well, I'm actually in America's hometown. I'm down in Plymouth, Massachusetts. So,
very good.
Yeah, I'm a good 45 minutes or so south of Boston.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how this is kind of the obligatory question that I've been posing to everyone. How are you doing through this current situation that we find ourselves in?
Well, like many, it's been a struggle. I'm a professional full-time musician, so basically, with all the many gigs that I had scheduled, they got kind of just it basically feels like the floor dropped out. But I know I'm not alone.
Yeah.
All my bartender friends and restaurant industry folks, and just across the board, everyone's feeling it. But it the thing that seemed so profound about this is how quickly it happened. Like, it just escalated so quickly, and there's just no way to prepare. I don't think anybody knew things were going to change so drastically. So I'm persevering, if you will, but it's definitely been a struggle for everybody, as you know.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And to varying degrees. I mean, for a lot of people, I count myself as very fortunate, and a lot of people are able to work from home and whatnot. But you're right. I mean, if you're in the entertainment industry, if you work in a restaurant, if you work in a bar, anything like that. I mean, you've just really, you're right. It happened so quickly, and everyone has just kind of had the rug pulled out from under them. It's terrible, and you're in a state that unfortunately has been particularly hard hit by this. We up here in New Hampshire, where I think we're like 13th or 14th in the country as far as COVID-19 cases so far, but Massachusetts,
okay.
Mass has been really hard hit.
And I have a lot of friends, musician friends, etc. In the New York area. Actually, I have family that's in the Western New York area, but New York's just is even greater numbers than Massachusetts. But yeah, it's definitely been profound and kind of scary, to be honest with you. But
yeah, totally. Yeah, New York has really become the epicenter of the whole thing. It's awful, and some of the people I feel the worst for in New York City is people in healthcare, people working in those hospitals, who
absolutely,
it's like they're walking into a hail of bullets every day, figuratively speaking. But it's just terrible.
I mean, they're the real heroes. I mean, it's unbelievable how having to not only face the imminent threat of the virus catching it themselves, but also from what it seems like being the resources have been so grim, and having to makeshift masks and work many more hours than they already do with so much less resources, and it really is unprecedented time. Definitely.
Absolutely. I do feel
one
like
one of the interesting things that have come about with the live music scene, at least down on the South Shore in the Boston area, myself included, what we've turned to has been streaming performances for people to tune into, and that's been a very rewarding experience in ways that I hadn't predicted, in the sense of just a lot of fans tuning in and seeing live streaming. And it's meant, I originally decided to do it sort of for myself, for my own sanity. But what I realized with people messaging me back and tuning in is it's been a way for everybody to connect, and they're all chatting while the show is going on. And there's been definitely a surgence of that, at least definitely in the South Shore music scene. We have a pretty thriving live music community, and the streaming has been just amazing. So that's been sort of a blessing in the craziness of the time.
Right.
But it has been a little, I will say though, it is a little strange performing in front of a virtual audience, although I know on radio, I'm sure you're kind of used to that, whereas
that's true.
In the live music, we're used to those people right in front of us, and so that's been a little bit of a learning curve, but it's been interesting to see all the concerts going on streaming, and all the way up, not just local people. I mean, national acts are starting to do that now, so it's definitely a shift, but it's been a positive one, I will say.
That is very cool, yeah. And it's funny, it's kind of been a running theme on the show lately here. We've been talking about how fortunate we are because we got to count those blessings where we can find them. How fortunate we are that this is happening in a time when we have all this technology, and you can do that. You can stream. You can still connect to the rest of the world through the internet, because 30 years ago or even 25 years ago, that really wasn't the case. And people would be kind of sitting in their houses going, well, geez, I got all this time. I guess I got to maybe dig out my box of VHS tapes and find a movie to watch or something, But
right.
So we're very lucky in that sense that this is happening in the year 2020, even though it's terrible for it to happen at any time.
Well, it's been interesting too, because up until recently, a lot of technology had sort of received criticism about, especially with the young generation, of how they're just isolated and they're just focused on the technology and they're not socializing. But when you really think about the technology playing out through this pandemic, it's actually been a very useful tool for people to connect, not only just with performances, but with loved ones, with school, with teachers, and with online learning. And so in a lot of ways, what technology was viewed as before as very isolating has almost kind of shifted, and it's almost brought people closer in a virtual way. Although again, like, streaming performance has been cool, but there's nothing like a live audience, for me as a performer. But
right.
It's better. But hey, I'd rather be able to stream a show than just be completely isolated. So it has been a nice way to kind of connect with friends, family, fans, things like that.
That is a great point that you make, and I'm going to remember that. Actually, I'm going to remember what you said the next time I hear, in the future, somebody complaining. Maybe it'll be an okay boomer moment, right? When I hear somebody complaining about, all these young people with their technology and their faces and their phones and everything. It's like, well, it came in awfully handy when everybody was stuck inside their, grandpa. I can imagine myself saying that to someone in the future. So.
Right.
That's a great point.
It's kind of it was an interesting shift, and it's kind of like what we were talking about before, where I'm trying to focus on anything positive that there is, which is difficult in these kind of times, but it was definitely a thought that had sort of percolated for me during this, and just trying to focus on the little things, the little positive things that are emerging, if possible, because we're inundated daily with the negative, definitely. So it's definitely a sort of a shift in ways of thinking,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's why too, I've been trying to do more interviews with on the show, on this program. We talk a lot about, politics and world events and so forth, but I've been really enjoying talking with musicians, because I also really love interviewing musicians, and it's good to kind of put the other stuff aside. It's like because I can't spend 2 hours a day on this program just talking about the coronavirus, which has kind of swallowed up everything in terms of the news cycle. So it's wonderful to be able to, if listening to this show and us having this conversation, if it helps people, kind of divert their attention to some of the more positive things, some of the silver linings in all of this, or, we'll, in a moment too, I want to shift gears and we'll talk about your music, but,
sure.
But, anything that kind of helps people take their mind off of, particularly people who are facing really just terrible, personal situations as they're going through this, I'm really happy to, hopefully we're giving a little bit of a distraction, or maybe just kind of an alternate way of looking at things. And hopefully people are taking the time, people who are stuck at home, hopefully they're taking the time to maybe catch up on other projects, or, a lot of the musicians I talk to are using this time to, as you've done, and we'll talk about the song in a moment, but, are really using time to create, which I think is the best way to deal with anything, whether it's a situation like this where, you end up with a lot of time on your hands that you maybe didn't particularly want, or it's some kind of trauma that you've been through, or whatever it is.
Right.
Whenever you can use that moment, that experience to create something, to create art, to put something positive out into the world for others to enjoy, or even for just yourself to enjoy, I think that's probably the best therapy for everyone who's going through something like this, whether it's creating art or enjoying other people's art. And that kind of leads us to, you've got this great track, and this is when I first became aware of you. Jenny brought this to my attention. Your project, the Retrograde, and you've got this great track, Keep On Going Strong. And what was this written and conceived of specifically for what we're going through now, or is it more of a broader concept? Or tell me about the song, if you would.
Well, so the music of the song, I had finished, I want to say around December of 2019, and what I had just all the instrumentation done, and I had a working title, which was Keep On Going Strong. And my original intent with it was almost like a Eye of the Tiger, Rocky, underdog will persevere kind of a feel.
Mm-hmm.
But I had just the working title and the theme, and then there's two members in my band, my lead singer and also co-writer Tyler Fisher. Him and I are we're the collaborators of the project as well, and I had passed this song along to him, I want to say in early January, with the title and the theme. And then I want to say it was around maybe mid-January when we were hearing things about the coronavirus, but it was still overseas, and it was sort of in the back of people's minds and whatever. But
right.
He had a moment of inspiration. I want to say I think it was just one night where he kind of woke up, and it sort of came out, the whole lyric flow, and which is great when that happens. It doesn't, we've been songwriting a long time, and some songs lend themselves easier than others, but
Sure.
This one in particular kind of came as one kind of sort of conscious thought, and we finalized the lyrics, tightened them up, and then we recorded the vocals on it, and then I produced it, and then had it was finished. But we as this pandemic and as the news started escalating and things like that, we because we've been writing and releasing music during this time, and we got together and decided we really wanted to do something to help in some way. And is there a song that we have? The other thing I will say, we've been writing music all during this as well.
Okay.
And there is some songs that are pretty dark, and we were like, we really want to put something out now that's capturing the moment, but we're being inundated in the world with the negativity and Tyler then had contacted me and said, why don't we do a song that's a tribute to the professional healthcare workers? And I mean, they're in the trenches now, and let's do a song. And he said, I think we should do Keep On Going Strong, because the message of it is exactly that. And I was like, I think that's a great idea. Let's do that. And we talked about doing a video tribute. And so then I started working on the video, and which accompanies it, I guess. I mean, I feel like most music nowadays, there's always a video with it. And I decided, and when he, his vision of it was, definitely he had sent me some images of, healthcare workers, and it's everywhere. I mean, it's just everywhere. The healthcare workers with they're just beaten down and are worn, and their faces are bruised from their face masks, and they're doing everything they possibly can. And I started constructing the video, and I started feeling like, what I didn't want the video to be was just another almost news feed where it's, because we're being inundated by these images as it is, and I wanted the song to be a tribute about them, but I also wanted the video to be uplifting in the spirit, and that's what led me to a good personal friend of mine, Jessie Fries, who is a local Plymouth artist, and I've been a fan of hers, and I've been friends with her for a while. And she happens to be doing a Corona series of art.
Yeah.
And she had been posting on her page this series, and I just became captivated with it.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was looking through it, I was like, this is the piece of the puzzle that I was missing for this video. And I reached out to her, and she was so generous and was like, of course, yeah, you use what use anything that you want if you feel it's going to help. And once I started plugging in her work into the flow of the video, it just really came to life for me. And it was like just that, like I said, that final piece of emotion that I was trying to capture in the video that I felt really was working in Congress with the song.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's sort of the evolution of it, I guess, if you will. And we also, when we had talked about releasing a song, this is even back before we decided on this one, we decided that whatever song it was that we were going to release, we wanted all the sales to go towards the Corona Response Fund and Coronavirus Response Fund. And then we actually, right before the release, we decided to even go further, and any of our music through our Bandcamp page, any sales of our songs, we're going to donate to the Coronavirus Response Fund. We just, we wanted to pay tribute to the healthcare superheroes and first responders, and the song, we felt, just had that message, and it, not only just message for them, but just everybody all around. Keep on going, just keep on going strong, and keep the faith, and work together. And again, Jessie Fry's amazing art, captures that as well, and it just, the timing of it. I mean, I believe a lot, energies and things align and things happen for reasons, and it just felt like a perfect union of art and music.
Absolutely, and the video is incredible, very, very well done, and we'll share it out on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page too. So,
great!
So people can check it out, and they'll know what we're talking about. But yeah, and her artwork is great. Jenny is good friends with her, and that's how you and I connected, because Jenny connected with you through her, and then connected you and I. So,
yes.
So that worked out very well. And yeah, Jessie's artwork is very impressive. It's those images are I want to say haunting, although that sounds cliche. There's probably a better word, but
no, it is. There's it's they're very emotive, and they're very stark and raw, but also there's just a quality to them, like a presence, and it's all happening as she sees it and at what she's feeling. Like, it's just as true art always does, it evokes a feeling, a response, an emotion.
Right.
And I love the digital age is amazing, and it's wonderful for many reasons. But what I loved so much too about the paintings is that, in the video when I was editing it, I chose to zoom in on some shots because what's so great is you can see the texture of the paper, and you can see it's the closest you can get to actually a painting in the digital age, if you will. And I fight that battle all the time. Because I'm the producer of the band, when I'm mixing, back in the 90s and the 80s, analog was all we had, and the push to digital, everybody wanted to be digital. And what's so interesting now is I actually have plugins I use that make it sound more analog because digital is great, but it's missing that warmth.
Right.
And
right.
I feel like it's the same way with digital video too. It can be cold, and with Jesse's paintings and the stills, when you could see the paper on there, it created a warmth and emotive feeling that sometimes digital can lack. And so it just it was sort of a culmination,
Yeah.
But yeah, her work is, that's just a fraction of her work, as I'm sure you know. And the art shop in Plymouth, she's a staple of the community and very well known. And all the teaching she does and everything else, it's just, and she couldn't be a nicer person. She's just a great human being. And but all her work is inspirational. But this in particular, it just really lent itself. And she was so generous to be so willing to let me sort of have access to it. And it really brought my vision to life. Or I should say the Retrograde, myself and Tyler Fisher, my writing partner and bandmate.
Yeah. And her shop is very impressive too. Jenny brought me there once. I think it's the only time I've met Jesse in person, but yeah, very, very impressive place. There's a lot of cool stuff there. And
and her business partner / co-owner, Eddie, is a phenomenal artist as well, and he does works with a lot of metals and copper and things like that. The two of them combined, when you walk into the shop, you just feel like you're at home. And she always says all kinds of baked goods and drinks and all kinds of things. And so yeah, she's just amazing. And so that, for me, that was an added bonus to all this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the message, keep on going strong. And that song just really spoke to us at this time, and it just felt like it almost spoke to us where it was like it wanted to be released. It was like, no, this is my time, and this is what you need to do. So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. Like you said, the energies align and so forth. And the Retrograde, has it always been just the two of you in the band?
Yes. Yeah. We yes, Tyler Fisher and myself. We started this project, I want to say it was about a year ago at this point, maybe not quite a year. I had written quite a lot of material, and I had played with Tyler in many years ago. We were in a band together, and then we had gone in different musical directions over the years. And when I started putting this original project together, I really like to collaborate. I really believe collaboration is really important, and especially if you have someone that you can collaborate effectively with. Mm-hmm. And we had always been able to write, we had written over the years here and there, but when I came to this project, I had him in mind, and I had written quite a lot of music. So I sent him some music, and I said, hey, if you feel inspired by any of this, by all means. And he came back to me within probably a week or so with maybe 15 or 20 almost complete songs, like as far as lyric.
Wow.
And we collaborate. It's sort of it's a very collaborative process as far as the writing. the themes, the lyric. I'm the instrumentalist. Tyler's more the lead singer, and I do sing lead sometimes, but I'm usually harmony as well. And but it's sort of an ebb and flow of creativity, and so yeah, that it's just the two of us. We're really primarily a studio-based band, where we were pursuing TV and film licensing, radio. And we sometimes write for other artists and things like that. But yeah, that's been sort of the spirit of the band. When I put the series of music together, I really wanted to write from influences that I grew up with. I've been a musician most of my life, and I wanted to write in styles that really influenced me. And for me, that was like bands like U2, The Cars, REM, The Cure, Counting Crows, and the music had a bit of a nostalgia feel. Now, "Keep On Going Strong" is one particular song that has kind of more of a modern sound.
Yeah.
But a lot of our catalog of material, it definitely has a nostalgic quality. And when it came time to sort of naming the project, Tyler had contacted me and said, we have a very retro sound. He's like, I'm thinking like the Retrograde might be a cool name. And I was like, that sounds great. So it sort of plays on the retro sound of a lot of our music as well.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And yeah, I was listening to some of the other tracks that you have, like Rated Gen X or RIP R&R, and just great stuff. And yeah, it does have, well, you got to use those analog plugins, right? So it gives it kind of a...
Well, it's interesting you mentioned RIP R&R. So that song we released a little while ago. We've been close friends with Dave Lee from WAAF in Boston.
Yep.
And when we heard that station was going dark, which was just crazy to us, it's been such a staple down here. We got together, Tyler and I got together, and we wanted to write a tribute to AAF and to basically all the Boston clubs that are no longer or are on their way out. Mm-hmm. And that song, that's what spirited that song. And we released it, but we really only released it to sort of radio industry people. We did create a sort of a tribute video to AAF, and the stills that are in that video were sent to us directly from Dave Lee from their final broadcast. So you get a sneak peek behind the scenes look at what that was like for them. And we pay homage to some of our favorite clubs like T2 the Bears, and the Ratskeller, and actually a very popular Boston bar, which I still do perform at, but probably not for much longer, the Middle East, because the Middle East is up for sale as well. So it's sort of a tribute to that. But that song, again, was released more as just a tribute to the end of rock and roll, I guess is how we were feeling at the time.
Sure.
And then Rated Gen X that you mentioned, that has a video that goes with it as well. That one, we wrote, there was a great article by the artist or writer Amber Fraley. She wrote, it was all about Generation X, and that's what we're Gen Xers, and that song is a complete tribute to growing up, watching the Goonies, Star Wars, drinking Kool-Aid, Purple Rain, and it's all about being a Gen Xer and being proud.
Yeah.
So So that's sort of the spirit of that song.
I did watch the video and I love it, and I did particularly love the Purple Rain reference. One of my favorite movies.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I still to this day, watch that movie. I love it.
Oh yeah,
it's just a great time for music, and it also ties into our, again, what I had mentioned earlier, which is the influences, drawing upon the influences that I grew up with, in particular, with music, and definitely that plays into that as well. And so yeah, it's been an exciting time for writing music, that's for sure. You know, we're continually writing, and with the latest one, Keep On Going Strong, you know, to be able to tie that in with the artwork and also with the tribute to the healthcare workers, and just putting a message out there that let's you know. What also lent itself to with that video was when Kraft had brought the Patriots plane to deliver the masks and stuff. That was sort of a final addition to the video that played well. As
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
it was a nice addition as well. Just people really coming out and saying, "All right, we're in this crisis. What can we do to help?" You know, and using resources. And it's been that part of it's been pretty amazing. You know, to see the positive reach out, and it's definitely a scary time, but there's been a lot of good that's been coming out as well, you know.
Oh, absolutely. It's brought out a lot of good in people. And, you know, I've always said, too, as we've been going through this, I feel like the general vibe in the country, and there are exceptions, you'll see exceptions, but I feel like the general vibe overall is, wow, you know, this whole thing really, really, really sucks, but we're going to get through it. We're going to do what we got to do. We're going to look out for each other as best we can, and we're going to get through it. And I really think that, you know, there's no rioting in the streets. There's nothing too crazy happening except for maybe the panic buying of toilet paper and a couple other things. But overall, I think people are being positive. I think they're being optimistic. And as you were saying, you know, there's a lot of positive stories out there, and it's brought out a lot of good in people. And yeah, that Kraft thing with the masks, they went to China to get the masks and everything. I mean, wow, it's such a cool story. And
it really is. It's amazing. And a lot of celebrities and you know, people of means have been doing a lot of things. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Lady Gaga had just. I know she's doing a concert, but I know she had donated a tremendous amount of money. And you know, you look at, you know, people of means that are doing good with what they can. That's great too. You know, and just people coming together and doing what you can, and and trying to sort of weather the storm, you know. Right,
exactly. And we will get through it, and things will get back to some version of normal eventually. It might take a little while. You know, I always say there's light at the end of the tunnel. We just don't know at the moment how long the tunnel actually is. That's all.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
But there is light at the end.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we should make sure, and you've been very generous with your time tonight, and we appreciate it. This has been a great discussion. I look forward to sharing it with everyone. But we should make sure that people know where they should go online to find your project, The Retrograde, and any other projects that you want people to know about, where they should go online, where they can find the video, and so on.
Yeah, so we have a website we're in development with, so I'll pass on giving you that. But if you want updates from us, our Facebook page is, you know, facebook.com/The Retrograde Band, and you can follow us there, and that has links to our latest releases, and also you can go on to a website which is great. It's called Bandcamp, like Bandcamp, and that's where our music's up for sale. And like I said, for this month, all sales of any of our music we're going to be donating to the Coronavirus Response Fund. So if you go to Bandcamp, our web address for that is theretrograde.bandcamp.com. And if you go again to our Facebook page, that has links to our YouTube videos, and there's also links on all our videos to the Bandcamp and things like that, so you can find it there as well. And for Keep On Going Strong, it links to that, and then you can see another video that we released, Rated Gen X, like we spoke about earlier,
Yeah.
and also RIP R&R is on that same YouTube page. So
Yeah.
and you can also check out Jessie Fry's, who's the artist that I had spoke about, in the art shop, Jess Art Studio, and we have links to her as well on there. So, but it's definitely worth checking out all her amazing works of art. And or if you can, when this is all over, definitely pay her a visit in Plymouth. We are getting ready for the Plymouth 400, and so it's we weren't. I don't think anybody was expecting things to close down the way they have, but
Yeah.
like like the song says, keep on going strong, and that's what we'll do.
Exactly. Well, this kind of thing only seems to happen about once every 100 years, so
Right.
hopefully we won't have to go through it again.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good way. There's a positive. That's a good way to spin it.
That's right. Like I said, we got to find these silver linings.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh. Well, Krieg, thank you so much, my friend.
Yeah, thank you very much, and I look forward to taking a listen, and yeah, stay safe, and thanks for your time, and I appreciate it, and everybody out there, just keep on going strong.